If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more of my content. Also be sure to press the notification button down below, that way when a new video comes out, you'll be notified. Iran is a rather mysterious place to most of us. In the media it's portrayed as this alien world where Islamic law is the norm and is fueled by people who constantly hate the West. However, we never get an Iranian's perspective of things. What is the normal Iranian's view on these events? Well, that's where the film Persepolis comes in. Based off the graphic novel by Marjan Satrapi, which is also based off her life, Persepolis will be an animated film that will bring a rather unique flair to it. But how good is it? Well, let's find out. So, what's the plot? Well, the story focuses on the aforementioned Marjan Satrapi. We see her story start off as a little girl. She's quite unique for her age, she's a fan of Bruce Lee and wants to become a prophet. We see her life, which is relatively normal until the start of the Iranian Revolution. For more information on the Iranian Revolution, please check my previous video on the topic, link in the description down below. Marjan's family becomes involved with the revolution, even Marjan herself wanted to join in, much to her family's dismay. However, once Iran becomes an Islamic Republic, things start to change for the worse for Marjan and her family. For starters, Marjan's favorite uncle is killed by the new government. The women are forced to wear hijabs, the men treat them horribly, they are not allowed to party or drink alcohol for they can face arrest or possibly execution. It doesn't help that Iraq invades Iran and the Satrapis have to face constant bombing raids from the Iraqis. All the while, Marjan is acting up in school criticizing the government. In order to escape the war and the wrath of the government, Marjan's family sends her to Austria where she has trouble fitting in, but here's where she develops into a young woman. However, her Austrian travels turns out to be a disaster and she decides to go back home where she must decide what she wants to do with her life. So what's the good? Well, for starters, I like the animation and character designs here. This is based off the designs from the graphic novel, however here it looks a lot better with animation. The movement is more fluid, more stretchy in areas, and it's allowed to be exaggerated, especially with the facial expressions. I mean, just look at the expressions right here. Or this one right here. I just love it. Not to mention, the backgrounds have this simple yet detailed look to them. It reminds me of ancient Persian artwork, and the silhouette parts have this beautiful yet eerie feel to them. The story here is also pretty good. We see the progression of the life of Marjan from a little girl to a young woman. The tone of the film can change to fit certain moods, from happy childhood to a grim war scene to sad and loneliness. There are moments of the film where they're just moments of silence. It's just beautiful and calming, yet terrifying and uncomfortable at the same time. Marjan is a rather relatable character. Despite her Iranian heritage, it seems like anyone can be in her situation. Which is one of the reasons why it was made to be black and white to have a wider appeal, though some scenes are in color. You feel what she's feeling and you want to see how she gets out of certain situations and sees as history unfolds through her eyes. She's been a mischievous child, she has trouble fitting in, she's been depressed, she's been determined, and she has relationship issues, just like most people. Though sometimes she will do something really shitty, but she's caught up by her mother and grandmother. There's a French version and an English version. I say both versions are good and choose the one that you prefer. Now for some of the negatives. I think the biggest problem this movie suffers from is the typical book adaptation issue. For starters, some of the pacing can be a bit too fast paced and a lot of stuff from the comic was cut out, which is not a bad thing because after all the comic was 2 books and this movie's an hour and a half. But there were some important stuff that were either cut out or cut down. Such as the case of a few characters such as God's role was shortened, Marjan's Austrian roommate who helped her learn German only makes a cameo. The relationship with her parents, which was a key factor in the original comic, was cut down, though her relationship with her grandmother is expanded upon, which is actually pretty good. Not to mention her group of quote-unquote friends in Austria show her the hypocrisy of Western life. Also, some factors of Marjan returning home were kinda glanced over as she kinda had a lot more trouble fitting back in when she came back from Europe. However, this is more of a personal problem with me as I did read the comic beforehand, and if you haven't read it, you probably might not see these issues. Also, because the actual Marjan played a huge part in the production of this movie, I feel like these were decisions she personally made, so I really can't say what her thought process was there. Despite that, it's still a very faithful adaptation. Overall, Persepolis is a very good and well-made film. The animation is great and the storytelling is spectacular. I say go check it out and expand your view on someone who experienced all these events.